Hi there, and welcome back to the Okanagan. Here in my little kitchen, we have Annika and Tanya from the Gone West Wine Club. And I'm just going to be asking you what this is all about. It's a different kind of wine club.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yes.
so who wants to tell me how it started?
Ooh, I can tell you
can
where
start, yeah.
the business partnership was born, which was actually Red Lips and Wine Sips private tastings. So Annika and I met working in the wine industry, and we had this idea to bring wine to people in their homes. So that's how we got started, and then COVID hit, and in homes, that was a bad idea altogether, being in people's homes. So anyways, we kind of changed the idea of the business, and that's where this came from. So.
Okay. And are you both from this region?
No, so funny enough, we're actually both from Ontario originally, but we didn't know each other in Ontario. It wasn't until we both ended up here in Kelowna that our paths crossed.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and then Tanya's from the Toronto-Oakville area originally.
Okay. Toronto, Oakville. Shout out to Burlington family.
Yes, big time.
All my in-laws are right
There
here.
you go.
Yes, yes.
Perfect.
Oh, right. So you came over here to the Okanagan and saw, there's wine here too.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Were you already in the wine industry when you arrived?
I was, but Tanya wasn't.
No.
Yeah, so I worked at a couple of wineries in Ontario, in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And then when I moved out here, I had an opportunity to work at a winery. So the transition for me to come from east to west was really quite easy. And then Tanya started in the industry in about 2009?
9-10, yep, at
around
Cedar
there.
Creek in the tasting room.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's local.
Very.
And that's not Andrew Peller.
No, it's not. No, the other big guy.
Did you move over with Andrew Peller?
So I always worked with them, and
Okay.
then Tanya was my assistant manager when I was managing the Sandhill tasting room, actually. So that's where we met.
Yeah.
And at the time, we were both planning our own separate weddings. We realized that we were both from Ontario, and we just really connected on a few different levels, and really formed a wonderful, lasting friendship.
Yes, that grew into the business.
That grew
is
into
Gone
business,
West
yes.
Wine Club today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's. I guess we didn't really touch on what the club itself is.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get there.
I feel like
wanna
people.
hear about the name.
Oh, okay.
So tell me about the name, Gone West Wine Club.
Well, some people assume that it's because Annika and I are both from the East Coast and we
That's
moved
what I was
west. Did
thinking,
you think that?
yeah.
Okay. So no, actually it wasn't. It was more so that during COVID, we were kind of pondering, how do we share this beautiful region with people who can't currently travel here?
Ah,
So it was, you're coming west without leaving your home.
that's nice.
That was us sharing a piece of the Okanagan with everybody.
Did you have any other names in the hopper that you were
Oh God.
thinking about?
All the
Oh,
typical
so many?
ones,
Yeah.
palate, swirl, I don't know,
Yeah.
sip,
Oh,
Yeah, everything
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
as soon as we said it, we knew it wasn't right. And so it was
Yeah.
like, well, what about this? No,
Right.
no,
Yeah.
no, definitely not. And then, did you hear like a song or something?
I heard a song. There's
Yeah.
a band called Gone West.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
what it was.
Yeah, don't tell them we took their name. Different industry.
Maybe we have
Maybe,
some.
maybe, yeah.
We might have some new releases that we need to get signed here. But Tanya was like, well, what about this? And then as we kind of sat and pondered on it a little bit more,
felt
we
right.
realized, you know what? Yeah, this is a really great way for us to be able to take what was originally our plan of showcasing small to medium-sized wineries from the Okanagan to people. This was it. That was kind of that. We knew that was the name.
Yeah.
So how far across the country are you getting people signed up for this?
Canada-wide.
Canada-wide. We can say we've hit both coasts.
Yes.
Oh,
Newfoundland,
my
St.
goodness.
John's. We've sent wine to St.
Wow.
John's. We've
Yeah.
done the island, a couple
Yeah.
spots on the island. So
And
coast to
everywhere in
coast.
between. Yeah.
Coast to coast, because it's so important, especially for the little wineries, that
Yes.
nobody gets to try their stuff if
Yes.
they're not here. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
And
I
so
love what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, we love it too. Yeah, so we've been doing this for almost, as far as the club is concerned, we've been doing it for almost 3 years now. In May, it'll be our 3-year birthday
Wow.
anniversary, whichever way you want to describe it. And then we still will do like the in-home side of things every once in a while as well, just because that really was where the roots were of our business.
Right.
And we love that ability to be able to come into a person's home home, be able to educate a little bit, taste through some wines. And it does allow us to be able to showcase a little bit more than just one winery at these tastings.
Right.
Because we do try to select a winery from each region of the Okanagan. And how else would you be able to do it other than something in home, right? You can't wine tour in Kelowna and in Osoyoos the same day. It's just, it's not possible.
It's not smart.
And it's not smart, no. So this gives us the opportunity to be able to select what we consider something that's really good coming out of that region, and then be able to share the Okanagan as a whole with people.
That would be an amazing way if I had out-of-town guests.
Yes.
To have you guys come over and show us like a virtual tour of the whole
Yes.
Okanagan.
Yeah.
Get me some spots. Give me
Yeah.
some flinty whites from up north.
Yes.
And
Yes.
some big bold reds from down south.
Absolutely.
Yeah, rosés from everywhere.
Yeah.
Very accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, sparkling from
Anywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what have we missed in understanding what the wine club is about? Because most wine clubs are generated by the winery, but you guys aren't. Are there other differences between a winery run wine club?
Say that.
So I'm here
10
to like
times
candid
fast.
talk.
We haven't even had any wine yet.
I know, it's not
No, it's not
necessary for Okay, so what's the differences between, like if I was signing up for, one of the wineries that we've featured,
Yeah.
who have great wine clubs, what are you up to that is similar and different?
Well, for us, I would say it's the variety you're signing up for, and it's the opportunity to discover multiple wineries and producers in the valley. That's the biggest difference. Aside from that, you can expect similar shipments, so it's like 3 to 6 bottles. We do offer shipments every second month, so it is more often than your typical winery club, but we do stick to that smaller shipment size so that it gives you the opportunity to kind of drink what you ordered the previous or 2 months ago, and then get ready to discover something new. But I think what people love the most, and the feedback that we've received, is the fact that you get to try different producers, and you get to discover producers you've never heard of. Because that's our goal, is to kind of dig deep and figure out who the small guys are, who the new guys are, what the cool grapes are that they're experimenting with, right? So we do all that work for you. And then kind of share it in our emails with you, and you get to decide if you're keen to check it out.
And that's kind of the other major, I shouldn't say major, but that other thing that kind of separates us compared to a regular winery wine club is that for us, it's not a commitment. So with wineries, you have your set shipments that are coming out every quarter or 4 months, whatever, and you have to purchase it. Whereas for our members, they have the ability to pick and choose what they're interested in. So for example, we just did a feature with Code Wines. And if we had some members that didn't want to try their wines, they weren't obligated to pay and order. They could just delete the email and then wait till our next feature comes out. But if they are interested, which we did have a good number of people that were, they go through the prompts, they add the wines to the cart, they hit that checkout button, and then a week later the wines show up at their door.
Oh, that's a really fast turn.
Yeah.
Who do you have packing these?
It's the winery.
Oh, thank God, right?
Yes. No, we trust them to take care of that side of the business. So yes, they pack the wine and they ship it.
So what comes in a box? The wines.
The wines.
Anything else?
Yes.
You will always receive a special little envelope from us, and this is Annika and I's kind of communication to you, and also a way for us to almost kind of hang out and taste the wines together. So what you'll get, well, it is, truthfully.
We do need to taste the wines.
We always share kind of just a little intro to the winery and an about us card. And then these are our custom tasting cards. So one thing you can count on is the fact that Annika and I will taste every single wine before we'll ever share it with you. So we will take our own tasting notes on it, which we share here in a really fun kind of graphic format. And then we have some kind of geeky, techie stuff for the cork dorks out there, and then fun food pairings and a little bit of a story about the winery itself as well. So you can expect that in every shipment, so you can familiarize yourself with the producers and the wines.
Very fun.
Yeah.
And it's a nice thing for our members to be able to hold on to as well, and be able to recall what those wines were. So if they want, they are more than welcome to write all over it. They could say, yes, love it, or something, just so that they when they are looking to be able to
Yeah.
purchase again in the future, we hope that they go back to the winery partners that we've had and reorder the ones that they enjoyed.
Yeah. I think I would hole punch these and put them on a little ring
Good
and
idea.
just collect a whole bunch of
Yeah.
them so I could flick through with little stickers on them like,
Yeah.
I love this. Or,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I love
Yeah.
that suggestion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like my dorky notes when I'm at the winery.
Yes.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
learned not to take them while I'm at the tasting bar because that freaks people out.
Oh,
It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
judging.
They get
That's what I'm
nervous.
doing.
Judging.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I take a picture with my phone and then I make the notes in the car.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like, this was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a blog for a while that was matching wines with things that you do in your life, like organize your receipts
Oh
for
my gosh.
taxes or sort through your underwear drawer.
Yeah.
Like, what do you
That
need?
doesn't happen very
to do
often.
that? Yeah, you need a wine specifically for that to get you through.
That is fun, especially if you're not an organization fan. Right?
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah,
forte.
anything Germanic.
Yes.
or-
Yeah.
It's like a nice Riesling
Yep.
Yeah.
to organize your taxes.
Yeah,
with.
that sounds about right, actually.
I could see Annika doing
I'm with
that.
that.
Yeah, to a certain extent, and then the organization sort of starts to fall apart.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
these are so great.
Thank you.
Yeah, and okay, you're even talking about the winemaking and how it's fermented. That one of this was in stainless steel,
Yeah.
and you're not wasting real estate.
No.
Ah, this is so good. I really love this.
Thank you.
Huh. I bet you could work this into some sort of a game like Settlers of Catan.
We might have to have a separate brainstorm session for this.
Yeah.
To get together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Renee, she's like any kind of game she knows about and how to structure it.
All
Her and her
right.
husband are monsters that way.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think we could make like
A wine game of our own.
Yeah.
collect all 50.
There you go. A
We're onto
loyalty
something
program
here.
of its own
Yeah.
kind.
Yeah. And then you could have like this underground, like people selling them.
Oh my
I've
God.
got the cold wine ones from
Oh yeah.
2024. Did you
Who's
collect them? Well,
got-
you didn't, did you? Because you're dumb.
Should have ordered that pack.
Yeah. We'll create scarcity
Oh, God.
and
Yeah.
then drive the prices up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
I watched the Beanie Babies movie.
Oh gosh, that flashback to childhood.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. All those collected
Yes.
dust bunnies
Oh my gosh.
that are now worth so much.
But
Yes.
I'm always amazed when, very strong tangent here, but like with people driving and you see all the like stuffed
Oh.
animals on the back
Dashboard,
of the,
yeah.
like on the dashboard or even
Yeah.
It's a really
like,
specific sort of person.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, like who has the time, one, to collect that many and why do they need it in their car with them? I just don't get it.
No.
No
Attachment.
offense to anybody
Yeah.
that's watching right now that sees that, but like I just don't, I don't know. It's a whole other world that I don't
have a
understand.
theory that if they were in a situation where they had to brake rapidly,
Yeah.
all these fluffy things
Are
would come
flying.
bombing at them,
Yes.
and that might feel really great. You know,
Well, I guess it's
all
soft.
your little support critters
Yes.
come swarming you because you're in a situation.
Yeah, I guess
Let's
so.
hope that's what happens.
That's what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, that's what it is for sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's why you don't
Done.
carry hammers on your back window.
Yes.
Mm,
Yeah.
good
'Cause that's
point.
That
not
would
a
hurt.
good support
No.
animal.
No.
No.
I think we're getting into those PG ratings now.
Oh yes. Oh dear. Yeah. What did we have one time, Renee? It was we started talking about cannibalism, didn't we?
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
that probably got us out of the
Oh no.
G ratings. Whoops.
Pretty quickly. Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Oh well.
All right. So people go online to Gone West Wine Club. Is it .ca?
Godwest.ca.
Donguest.pz. Okay. Gonewest.ca. And talk me through, because your website is also pretty extensive. You've got a lot of things going on in there. Like the second tab from the left, it looks like I can do a tasting experience sort of online. Is that true? Or is that setting up for an in-house thing?
Both. So there's a kind of an intake form, I guess, for what type of experience you want to do.
Okay.
But we certainly offer in-home or in business, which has happened too. Tastings, yes, because it's a great team build or kind of a staff celebration, anything like that. So we've done them in businesses and homes, but we also do virtual tastings. And obviously that was born during a certain time when we couldn't go into people's homes. But it has stayed somewhat popular because if you're somewhere across Canada and you still want to experience it, we could certainly ship the wine to you and then meet online to go through the tasting experience.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anybody else doing that. I don't know.
We don't really know.
There
No.
might be, but
There could be.
there could be, but
Yeah.
who are they?
I don't know.
And they might not be based here. There isn't certainly anyone based in the
No.
Okanagan that is doing it.
Right.
Yes.
We can
right.
we could say that.
And sending out like little hidden gem
Yes.
wineries.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, where you have people doing wild stuff.
Yeah.
Like some of the time they're so creative and adventurous with how they're making their wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the wackadoodle grape that they just planted and
Yeah.
it makes this amazing wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you never would know
No.
unless somebody like you sent it to them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I think your concept is brilliant.
Thank you.
And we're going to play around with some of these wines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when I get my wine box from you guys,
Yes.
this is a sample of what might actually be in a box, right?
Yeah, so we just did a feature with Code Winery. So they're a really nice and small winery down in Okanagan Falls. And the 3 wines that we were able to promote with them was their portfolio at the time. So they have been sold out of some of their other wines. And so this not only is a great cross section, it's what they
It
have.
is their portfolio.
Yeah, so we sometimes when we're doing features as well, we'll have like a set pack, like either 3 or 4 bottles, and sometimes depending on the winery, we have the ability to do some like add-ons of like high-end wines. So if you've decided to add something, that of course would be in the box as well, and then the tasting cards too.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. So this past
Very
month.
customizable.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and we find that people like it. We have really, because we've been doing this for almost 3 years, like we really went through a variety of different ways that people get purchased.
Yeah, we tested.
we tested everything,
Yeah.
and we went from doing like 6 bottles, and that's all you could get, to trying
Fully
to
customized.
do fully customizable, little combination of the 2.
Yeah.
But what we're finding is the kind of the sweet spot for people is having that 3 or 4 wines that we are saying that like this is a set pack.
Yeah.
And then if you're interested in adding on, they can to be able to build
Yeah.
Okay.
to try to get free shipping or whatever that offer is from the winery as well. So we
And the people know that you've curated them
100%.
yes.
and developed your tasting cards so that there's also food pairing suggestions.
Yes.
And we
Every
followed
time.
your suggestions, right?
Yes,
Yes.
we
In
did.
Building this out. Okay,
100%.
I'm so excited about
Yeah.
getting into it. So when I've got mine at home and I'm with my 2 best friends, I've never met before.
Minor
Wine will
details.
do that. Yeah.
But I'm very easy. Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's wine, so
Yeah.
it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Which one am I going to start with?
So
Totally the big red, right?
you always want to go start with, when you're starting with whites first, of course, and then for whites you would start from driest to sweetest, and then from reds you would go from lightest to heaviest. So for ourselves today we would kind of be changing up the order from what we have it as displayed. So we would want to start with the Chardonnay and then go to the Rosé and then finish with the Pinot Noir.
There you go.
Yeah.
Technology. There we go.
Beautiful.
There, that way.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right. Why don't you do the honors and
Sure.
crack open our Chard and you tell me about it.
Okay.
You know?
Yes. Yes.
Do you remember?
So-
How can we forget?
A solid week ago, we featured this winery. No, but we do
big
taste a
pours
lot
you
of
want?
wines, so it's so it is important to remember the difference between all of them, and you do kind of start to bank tasting profiles and winery styles and all of that. So that's what's happening up here. This Chardonnay is 100% unoaked from Code Wines, which is really interesting. So stainless steel ferment. They only made 202 cases. So tiny production, single clone, and that is something that Code Wines focuses on, is that clonal selection. So very specific about what they plant, very specific about what type of yeast they use for fermentation. So this is a Burgundian yeast.
Okay.
For people that are, high level palates, they might be able to distinguish certain things that might bring out. For us, not necessarily. However, the quality is there. And this Chardonnay, because it is unoaked, it is very crisp. You get this beautiful lively acidity, you get really beautiful fresh fruit notes, pears, apples, orchard fruits, a little bit of citrus coming through. It's a really easy pairing wine because of that, actually. And today we've chosen to pair it with some sushi, takeout sushi specifically, from one of our favorite spots in Kelowna.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you able to make sushi yourself?
I have never tried. Have you?
Mm-hmm.
And? Is it hard?
Success or not so much?
Well, I made it with a Korean friend, and he was just so good at it. Like his rolls were so tight. And
So
mine were
everything
so
fails in
sloppy.
comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was my first time. I feel like it could be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Lots of people do it.
Yeah.
Me not
But
so
I feel
much.
like there's just some foods you just leave it to the professionals.
Yeah.
Don't you
Yeah.
think?
It's
Yeah.
kind of like doing your own wiring in your house.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Sure. You can
Or
put that
making
in
your
your
own
house.
wine.
Don't make sushi.
Tanya.
Oh, I made my own wine. I was in high school. I was leaving for university,
Oh,
and I
God.
blew up my mom's basement.
Oh,
That's why we don't
Yeah.
make our own wine.
Well, there was no bung involved. Everything
oh
was
my
just-
gosh. Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
Too funny.
This is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So talk a little bit about clones, because I know you talked about how this is a Chardonnay clone.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean to me? Like,
So
why is that important?
there's, first of all, if we backtrack, there's over 1,000 varieties of winemaking grapes. So that's huge. And then within each varietal, like a Pinot or Chardonnay, there could be hundreds of clones. So not all of them taste the same. They grow differently in the vineyard. They have different size berries. They have different size clusters, skin color, all that kind of stuff will affect the end product. So winemakers are pretty picky about what they plant if they have a choice, or if they are coming into a project where everything's planted, then they kind of look at the clones and see what they want to do with them. So the Chardonnay is a single clone, and they only have that one planted on the vineyard. For the Pinot Noir, they've got 5 different clones planted, and they play
'Cause they all
around.
bring something.
Exactly. One is a little more fruit forward. One might be a little more earthy. One might be a little more floral. The cool thing about Code Wines, for anyone that is interested to kind of geeking out a little bit more, the one we featured is an estate blend of all those clones, but they do single clone bottlings. So you could sit there and taste what each
Okay.
clone tastes like.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So you could do a horizontal tasting with all the different clones.
Yes.
Yes.
That would be so educational.
So educational.
Yeah.
Because that's coming from our terroir
Yes.
and not, say it's a clone from France. It's going to behave differently
Yeah.
Yes.
in France than it does in the
Yep.
Okanagan.
Yeah.
Even from parcel to parcel in the Okanagan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Region
that's-
to region, all of it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think that's what makes the Okanagan a little bit special too in general is like we have such a vast microclimate and the soil is different from one vineyard to the next. And so that does give us that ability to be able to plant and grow so much and offer so much to people as well. Because I don't know, I don't feel like there's anywhere else that's as unique as we are,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I think so too. It's the glacier.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the glacier that came down and deposited different things. So you can be standing from me to you, and this row
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
a different characteristic than this one.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
the winemaker and the guy in the vineyard is going to
Yeah.
make decisions
Yeah.
all the way along. And the winemaker's going to make a ton of decisions, like even when to pick it. So this
Yeah.
doesn't
Exactly.
taste like green apples and
Exactly.
Too zesty, too
yeah,
acidic.
or
Yeah.
leave it out there for
Yeah.
too long,
Yeah.
or too
Yeah.
hot, where it gets to be.
Yeah, and even north to
little
south
tropical,
too, right?
yeah.
Like the temperatures that we have here in Kelowna are a couple degrees cooler in comparison to Oliver and Osoyoos,
Absolutely.
right? So what
And
we're
that makes a huge
a
difference.
big difference. Yeah.
So you probably heard a big gravel truck just drive by my house. Renee, the window's open behind you. Do you want to just close that? This is the beauty of being actually in a residential
On location.
studio on location. Sometimes your neighbors are doing a project.
Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah, it's the realism of the moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
So when you're tasting wine, what steps do you take? Like, what are you doing? Are you checking the color? Are you trying to guess its age? Like, if you don't already know, are you playing wine games?
We do sometimes. When we are kind of at the wineries and going through the tasting, we're looking for obviously the color and quality and clarity. We're swirling, trying to release all the aromas. We're taking all those WSET steps we learned. That systematic tasting, because our job essentially is to quality check the wine for you.
Right.
So you don't have to worry when you're ordering, right? So we are very diligent in what we're doing. So not too many games in those moments, but yes, we've definitely done our own versions of blind tastings and all that kind of stuff, because it keeps things fun and
Keeps your skills up too.
yeah, exactly.
And ultimately, when we're trying the wines at the winery, our notes are what is then getting transcribed into the tasting cards, right?
Very
So
nice.
when we're at a winery, or if we get samples and we're doing it at Tanya's kitchen table, like in those moments, I would say it is a little bit more of that serious side of wine tasting, just because we want to make sure that when we are about to promote this wine, that it is something that we can stand behind. Because that is our promise to our members, is that we're not going to promote something that we don't believe in. So we need to make sure that we are focused on our task at hand, and we're taking good notes so that we can create the tasting cards later too.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Do you want to open up
Yes.
the sushi?
So Tanya, what did you pick up? Because
Oh,
it
okay.
looks delicious.
Well, I'm just going to share for
snuck a peek
folks what
earlier.
we had as the suggested pairings to go with our 2022 Chardonnay from Code Wines. So lobster rolls, your favorite sushi takeout, and a chicken salad. So we usually only list 3. These are kind of endless, to be honest, and you can always take this as a jumping off point for other ideas. So obviously we noted here that any kind of seafood, especially light seafood, would work really well. White poultry, you could even go as far as a pork pairing. There's lots of options. Today we picked up sushi from Momo, sushi in Kelowna. It's a go-to for me at least.
Choice.
And I got, of course, a BC roll, because come on.
That makes sense.
Where we are.
And I got a dynamite roll because I wanted to show off let's do one of
okay.
each. I wanted to actually show off that deep fried
Oh,
works really well when there's a good amount of
I
acidity in the
see.
wine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, this is a very bright wine. I feel
Yes.
my mouth is still watering, but very high quality. Like the finish continues.
Very much so. Yeah.
Beautiful.
A lot of people, well, no, I don't want to say a lot of people, but I think that unoaked Chardonnay is still something fairly new to the average palate.
People remember the
Heavy
the
butter,
big
oak.
California
Yes.
buttery.
Yes. And in the Okanagan, I think we can safely say there's no one doing 100% new oak on Chardonnay.
Not anymore. No.
Not anymore. So
really
you're
hard
going
to
to see
find.
a lot of either lightly, like second or third time use, neutral oak and stainless steel blending. And once in a while you get 100% unoaked, because they're really trying to show off the fruit and the terroir.
Yeah.
And I think that does it beautifully.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So which one do we want to start? Do we go BC or do we go?
Can we just say that sushi is a messy food
Yes.
before we go into
Well, you got the bigger piece
I gave
too.
you the giant one.
Why would you do that to
I'm
me?
a jerk.
Oh my God, on TV. I'm eating with my hands, by
Okay,
the
go
way.
for it.
We're all going to do it different. So let's see who has the
Which
best
one
luck.
are we trying
For-
first?
This one, the BC, or no, is this tempura? This is tempura.
Okay.
This
Oh,
is the dynamite.
Yeah,
Dynamite. Let's do dynamite.
Okay, I think that's
This one.
I think that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Ready?
All right. Wow.
This is a good question to ask. How do you eat your sushi? Fork? Chopsticks? Hands? That's lovely.
Sushi by the fistful.
Yeah. Ooh.
Depends if I'm with people or not.
Momo never lets you down.
No.
And there's like a little bit of spice on that sauce too, which normally you wouldn't necessarily put with a Chardonnay, but because this is unoaked, it does balance that out nicely. And that acidity on it, oh my gosh.
Yep.
Really
That's
nice pairing.
beautiful.
I think sometimes people get intimidated pairing wine with sushi.
Yeah.
That's right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But you don't have to be. I think a Riesling, a sparkling, an oak Chardonnay.
All really great options for that
Yeah.
too. And I think like people aren't some people aren't willing to really play around with Chardonnay either, not even on the wine pairing side, just even the tasting side, right? Because it's the same thing as like Merlot. You just hear the word and you're like, oh, I don't want it. I don't like it, right?
Darn
Thank you, sideways.
Yes.
Right? Although I am like, I have the hardest time getting behind Merlot. I cannot do it. I've tried so
I
hard,
love a good
and I can
Merlot.
just not. No,
Yeah.
Chardonnay though, different story. I love Chardonnay. But because there is just this like mindset
Stigma.
right away. And it's the same as like people saying the word Riesling. They're like, oh, it's so sweet. And I'm like,
Right.
are you kidding
Not
me?
here.
No,
Hardly
not here.
anybody produces a
And I
sweet
love,
Riesling.
I'm a big Riesling advocate. So
Yes.
you get me on that topic and we could be going for a while. But when it comes to Chardonnay, people just automatically are thinking, oh, it's going to be this. And so I like throwing in Chardonnays into our wine packs when we have the opportunity to showcase it, because these are great examples of what a Chardonnay can be if it isn't heavily oaked, or if you give it a try, right?
Yeah.
So, because you could easily taste this and somebody else's Chardonnay and not even realize that it's the same varietal,
grape.
right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is crazy at times too.
Yeah, we were always scared in som exams to
Yes.
get a Chard.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I thought it was Riesling.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be masked
Yeah.
as so many others.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hope you'll get some bright yellow apple
Yes.
or something.
Okay.
All right, now the BC
Thanks for the
one.
big piece here.
Good luck, Tanya.
Okay, all eyes
Don't
on
zoom in
this.
on her.
What does Renee do? Oh, I saw her just move the camera. That's so nice of her. She moved it away.
Thank you.
Because she's a gentleman.
Gentlewoman, thank
Yeah,
you.
something like that.
Okay. There's smoked salmon on here. It'll be interesting to see.
That's delicious too.
Yeah, big smoky salmon. How are you? Wow, that changes the wine. It's amazing.
It actually kind of makes it brighter. Did you find that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And a little softer too. Like I didn't feel
On the
like
finish,
it was,
the acid?
Yeah, like I don't feel like it was as acidic in comparison to the first one.
A little
Okay.
bit of minerality building up with the, I think, the smokiness.
Yum.
Hey.
Lovely.
All right.
Okay.
Do you approve?
Oh my gosh. Yes. So, who is this guy? Shay?
Yeah.
Well
I
done,
feel like
man.
you'll get to know them very well after
Yeah.
this.
Get
Yeah.
to know this one.
Yeah.
How do they have a tasting room?
Yes, but seasonal, and by tasting room we mean the garage attached to their house.
With barrels all around.
If you,
that is so great.
it is very cool, actually, and they have a gated property, but like
Okay.
you know, like farm gate kind of thing, and their dog runs the gate to greet you, and you come in,
So
and
sweet.
they have
What kind of dog do they have?
a golden retriever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the most friendly dog ever.
I know.
So they have their cellar set up in the garage, and they have essentially a kitchen table in there that you sit down and taste at.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
But I would
everything
say it was
wanna
like
do.
one of our favorite tastings because when we went, it was kind of impromptu. Like we
Yeah.
knew that we wanted to go see them. This was just our first experience in trying. We knew we wanted
like
to
a year
do
and a half
feature,
ago.
but it
Yeah.
wasn't anything that had really come to fruition yet. And yeah, like Shay comes riding up on his motorcycle. We were about to leave. He tracks us down. We go, and the
Wow.
dog
Yeah.
comes running out.
He
And then
pulls
he
samples from the barrels.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then he
Oh
just
my
like sits
gosh.
us down at this little table with barrels all around us, and
Yeah.
like we just
Oh,
loved it
wow.
because that really is a true experience of what it's like to be a small producer, right?
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
necessarily have the big fancy tasting rooms or
Booking
or
systems
or a booking system or trying to
Yeah.
text
Right.
while riding a motorcycle or like it's
No,
just
don't do that.
Yeah.
please, yes, no, please don't do that.
Yeah.
But like it's such a unique experience and it's different. And
amazing.
so that's part of why we love to be able to help showcase these wines.
Yeah, spread the
because-
word.
Yeah,
Well,
because they
how
deserve it.
intimate and authentic.
Yes.
Almost like visiting Steve Jobs in his
Yeah.
garage.
Yes,
was
when he
starting
started.
Apple.
Yes.
Something like
That's
oh,
exactly
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just meet these people when you still can meet them.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause this, I'm willing to bet whatever you paid for this, it's worth double.
Well, it will be in the next few years.
Yeah. Oh, next week.
That's a whole other topic.
5 times.
Yeah. Stock up on your Okanagan wines while you can.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
How big is the biggest case you've sent out?
Full case, 12
Yeah.
bottles.
Like
So
12.
they'll like
Okay.
triple the pack kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a smart thing to do right now.
Or we
Well-
just had one member that asked us to be like personal shoppers for her, which we loved. So she's a huge fan of Okanagan red wines, and where she lives in a super small town, she's just not capable of getting much. And so she told us what type of varietals that she liked, what her budget was to spend, and we went shopping for her on her behalf. And Shay was actually very lovely that he packed it up and shipped it with her code pack that she purchased. And so now I'm waiting for the emailer for the message on Instagram to come through any day now for her to be like, oh my God, because she's just like, she's such a lovely, lovely member. But she was like, if I can't get it and you guys know what the wines are like,
Yes.
Yeah.
why not just have you
And you know what her
shop for me?
palate
Yes.
skews to.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you ever need personal shoppers, we're here for you too.
So smart. When this gig is over, I want to work with you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Renee's like, oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
Wow, that is fantastic. All right, let's go for the next one.
Okay. So we'll move on to the rosé. So this is a 100% Syrah rosé, which is definitely on Tanya's and I's top list of BC rosés, and I think will forever stay on it.
Yeah. It's not common to get a Syrah rosé. Like we've worked with a few wineries who've done it, mostly kind of Penticton and further south because that's where the Syrah is planted typically. But it's not a common grape to make rosé out of.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of Pinot Noir. You'll see quite a bit of Merlot, a little bit of Cab
It might be
Franc.
in a blend.
Yes, exactly. But 100% Syrah, it's a really fun experiment because you do get some of those savory notes that come off of Syrah still
Nice.
showing through in the rosé, which makes it a really interesting sipping
I
wine.
love this one so much.
Such a beautiful color.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not pink. It's got this
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
like copper,
Yes.
amber.
yes.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
And I just like it has this like creamy mouthfeel to it with still a little bit of acidity on it. And I just, I really could just sit with this glass forever.
Like, how beautiful would this be at a wedding?
Oh my gosh, stunning.
Especially something outside where you get that light
Yeah.
through the glass.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Spent about 25 years photographing weddings.
Did you?
And I spend an awful lot of time photographing the food and the wine.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys are all going to forget. Or you're so like
Yeah.
out of body.
You are.
It's
you
very
need
true.
to see what you ate and what you
Yeah.
drank.
Yeah.
This is what you ate. Do you know?
The
all?
guests will remember that part usually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this would
Oh,
be a
yeah.
hit.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful wine.
I see what you mean with that creamy mouthfeel. Really different profile than I
Very.
was expecting.
Yeah. And just a little bit more like weight and nuance to it. Some of our rosés within the valley can get like
Quite
just
light.
light and bright and with a little bit of sweetness, like
And very
lovingly.
berry.
Yeah,
Yes.
berry, yeah.
Yeah.
Very berry.
Whereas this definitely has some more like depth and
Yeah. Look
it's
at
got
that.
But
like
it's that
to
savory
it.
kick.
Rolled
There's
Yeah.
out
the yes,
rosé.
and that's exactly what makes it a great food pairing item too, right? So you,
Absolutely.
that
Much
complexity,
more like a French rosé.
yes, the complexity on there allows you to kind of play around with different food pairings. I love it, and I don't know if you get it. Not everybody picks it up, but the little bit of pepper. There's a little bit of spice on the finish.
it's my favorite part.
Definitely. Like a white pepper.
Very
Sneaky.
delicate. Yeah. Yeah.
Just kind of like
Oh
pop your head
hey.
in.
Oh hey, I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi.
Not your average rosé.
No,
That's
not at
right.
all.
Yeah, this is it removes itself completely from that patio pounder
Yes.
category.
Yes.
And it's
Thankfully.
like, this isn't the silly girl rosé. This
No.
is the grown up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is serious.
Completely
Serious
dry
rosé.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
To mention, like
dry,
bone
sort
dry.
Of savory.
Yeah.
No, they've done
Yeah.
an amazing job.
So we paired this with a few fun things.
Yes.
But the one we're going to showcase today is the goat cheese. So we have an amazing local cheesemonger called Percival and Young. And we love working with them for various pairings for the wines that we showcase. So Des did tell me a very specific way to cut that.
Oh,
so
good.
just from the top down, you can do it, but.
It's not very specific.
Oh. Well, no, because
I was expecting something different.
well, okay, no, she there's a
Like
whole
this.
sheet, and I don't think I brought it in, but she has she gives you a guided sheet on how to cut each certain type
Oh
of
my goodness.
cheese that they have. So
Wow.
this is an ash covered goat cheese from France.
I have never seen
No,
a goat cheese.
and we
that
eat
looks
the
like
outside,
this.
by the way.
Okay, so,
So,
the
yes,
rind.
the
I don't want to
rind.
manhandle your cheese too
Yeah.
much. So
Yeah. So we picked this, and Annika's actually more of the food pairing guru, I would say, because she has a lot of experience working in the restaurant side of things too. But this, as you know, probably goat cheese does have kind of that tanginess to it, the natural tanginess, and this Syrah being bone dry and has this beautiful backbone of acidity pairs really well with any type of goat cheese.
What a gorgeous cheese.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
all right.
I didn't eat this.
So I would, actually, you know what's interesting? We were talking about manhandling stuff. So when we first met, good tangent, but when we first met Des and Phil, who own Percival and Young, we did a tasting, and she's brilliant. Like, she's absolutely brilliant when it comes to cheese. She actually taught us that you should play with your cheese. So one, you should have your cheese at room temperature for a good while before actually serving it, because that's when, like wine,
And
if
like-
it's too cold, you won't get the right aromas and flavors out of it.
And like good quality cheese,
Good
not what you're like.
Don't-
not your Kraft singles that you're picking up from the grocery
Don't let your
store. Like,
grocery store cheddar
no,
sweat.
No, no,
Don't do that.
No.
But the cheese that you get from them, you want to bring it to a room temperature essentially, because that's when it will show best. And then this, maybe not a soft cheese, but anything from medium to hard, she showed us to play around with it.
Smush it up.
Smush it up.
Yeah.
Smush it up. Don't be shy.
And then when you're like eating it and chewing it, you want to rub it on the roof of your mouth as well. I know there's so much to cheese tasting.
There
and,
is
like,
as much to cheese tasting as
no
there is
idea.
to wine.
Yeah.
Do they do tutorials down there?
They will do classes, tasting classes once in a while, usually paired with a wine or whiskey or beer. But you can just go in there to shop and ask your questions, and they're willing to spend the time and
Is it in
educate.
Ellis? Like in that area?
Richter.
Richter. Okay.
Just past Redbird in Santo,
Oh,
on the left-hand
I
side.
end up at Redbird frequently.
There you go. Just walk a little
Yeah,
further.
they have a saison that's worth the trip. across.
And the pickle pizza. Okay,
That's
the only
great
problem is that you get dirty fingers for your wine glass after.
Yeah, we'll just smuck up one.
It's quite earthy.
And it's really earthy.
Holy moly. That
Ooh.
is an incredible pairing.
Feel how much that cleanses your palate?
Yeah.
No kidding.
You have it coated with that goat cheese, and all of a sudden it's just whoosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Love that.
Wow. That yeah, no, that's incredible. So if somebody doesn't know what a pairing should be like, this is a very good tutorial on what a pairing shouldn't be like. Brush your teeth, minty toothpaste, then
Coffee.
take a swig of, I think, orange juice.
Oh yeah.
Even worse.
Toe curdling.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like, oh,
Right.
that's a bad moment. And this is the opposite.
Yeah. This is a very good moment
This
right
is
here.
a very good moment.
Yeah.
We're all having a lovely,
Yeah.
lovely afternoon.
Yeah.
Standing here in a kitchen, talking to cameras
Yeah.
and having a great time. Just trusting that somebody cares.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure they do.
Food and wine. Come on.
Food and
Like,
wine.
how do you go wrong with that?
I know, right? Even the bloom on this is delicate. It isn't that like overpowering kind of
No.
moldy funk that
No.
you sometimes get.
And when we do go into the cheese shop, Des and Phil know their wines pretty well too. So you can talk to them about that pairing and ask for suggestions. So I made sure to say what we're tasting, and they actually kind of brought out the array of goat cheeses, and we talked it through, right? Said, oh, this one might be a little bit too strong. This one's going to be a little bit too earthy. This one was right down the middle. So that's an experience in itself. If
Yeah.
you're a
That sounds
foodie or a
amazing.
wino. Yeah.
Wow.
And they're so lovely too.
Yeah.
Like they are truly some of the nicest people we know.
Support them,
Yeah.
local, like a local business. Definitely
Yeah.
support them if you're.
That's fantastic. So anybody visiting Kelowna,
Yes.
that's a great place to hit,
Oh yes.
especially if they're like in town for a function or something.
Yes.
Thinking destination wedding, that kind of thing. They want to get their the charcuterie parts.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And those people can help us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So nice. I love how you know all these people.
That's one of our favorite parts is that connection, whether
Yeah.
it's with fellow industry, producers, foodies, and then our consumers.
Yeah.
And like we really, we love connecting with the locals, but the club is a way to connect with wine lovers across the country, which like
Absolutely.
just gets us so excited.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
And it's really interesting how we end up meeting different people as well. Like for Des and Phil, for example, with the cheese shop, I happened to go to a market that was at a winery. I really wanted to check it out. Pretty sure I was hungover that day. I don't know, but I went.
Occupational
And
hazard.
right? And Des and Phil had a table set up doing cheese samples because at the time they didn't even have their storefront open. They were just a cheese club, and they had a sign that said cheese parties or wine and cheese parties or something along those lines. And this was before we even started the wine club. So Tanya and I were just doing the red lips and wine sips, so the in-home tasting part of our business. And so I went up to their table and I said, like, who do you figure out the wines with? And they said, well, we try to figure it out. Like, we're just learning about wines and, and I was like, well, I have a wine tasting business.
And we hit it off.
And so we hit it off, and we've been really fortunate to be able to work with them in a couple different capacities. So before they opened up their shop and was just doing the cheese club shipments, we would work with them on the wine pairings. And so we would unfortunately have to taste through a bunch of wine and cheese and figure out what worked.
Terrible part of the job, yeah.
Right.
It was horrible, but somebody had to do it, and so we lent our palates to it and helped them out with figuring out. And they would end up writing like specific wines on their tasting notes for the cheese to say, we know that this is going to do good. We've done some corporate stuff with them, some in-store stuff, and then now we just, whenever we have cheese that we need, obviously they're our first go-to. But then aside from that, like we just kind of run into different people magically throughout our social scene and meet new people that we're able to work with or wineries that we're able to work with. So we are really fortunate, and we love what we do, and we're really passionate about it too. So it just makes it all even better.
We have so many incredible food producers here in the valley. Innovative things and people that will bring in amazing stuff from other places.
Yes. Yeah. So the majority of their shop too is all international cheese, with like a handful of Canadian producers, which is really nice.
Nice. Are they all that pretty?
Yeah, in their own way, I would say for sure. Yeah, and some of them are sold, as individual like pieces of cheese. Other ones they'll slice up for you based on what you want. So often I'll go in there and say, I'm having 8 people over and I want 4 different cheeses, and then we sit there and we pick them out together, and then they slice accordingly, and you don't have to figure all that out on your own.
So good.
Yeah. Yes.
And then you don't, well, I guess there's not a real problem having extra cheese.
No. You know what was one more thing on the cheese part. What we learned when we started working with them and learning about cheese and high quality cheese was because the flavors are so strong, you don't actually eat as much. As you would, right? Of your average grocery store cheese, let's say.
So your senses are satisfied with less cheese.
The intensity,
just better cheese.
Yes.
Okay, I get that. That sounds smart.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does make sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, we've got
One last wine.
One last wine.
Unfortunately.
I know.
This is just as beautiful. So this is the Pinot Noir from Code, and this was the estate blend. So like Tanya mentioned before, it's all of the clones that they grow on their property. You are welcome.
Just slightly darker than the rosé.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
And still similar hue.
That
family.
hue, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Copperiness.
Yeah.
And this one we actually had a lot of fun with when we were like tasting it and thinking about food pairings. So if there was to be a chef between Tanya and I, it is definitely Tanya. I am not one with the kitchen. I don't like it.
No.
I can bake. I'm a good if I was to bake, I am a good baker, but to like cook,
Oh.
Not so much. I don't enjoy it, I guess. I don't know.
No, and I find it like therapeutic.
Oh,
That's
me
how much
too.
I love it. So yeah.
So like we could truly look at probably the same ingredients. I'd be like, we're ordering takeout. There's literally nothing here, and she can whip up this big thing. I don't even know. So one of our suggestions with this one though, because this Pinot Noir is just so approachable, very easy to sip on. It's such a beautiful wine though that sometimes you just don't really want to cook anything or do much with it. So we actually made the suggestion of pairing this with a frozen pizza. So taking a cheese pizza, frozen cheese pizza, throw on whatever vegetables you want, and Pinot and pizza is always such a
Safe
really
bet.
great pairing. Because Pinot has some really nice earthy characteristics, adding some like mushrooms to it is always a really good idea. So we are not going the frozen pizza route. We are actually going professional wise. But we picked up a mushroom and truffle pizza from a little place downtown Kelowna called La Vella. And we've had the opportunity to eat there before,
it's
and
lovely.
it's stunning and beautiful.
You know when the pizza dough is done right,
No.
everything else tastes better.
Everything is good.
Yeah.
This is that. This is that.
Oh,
yeah.
So you definitely
So
need to
excited.
try this.
All right. Oh, these are large pieces.
I know.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is cut smaller than what the original was. So
Oh my God.
Thank you.
Okay.
you're welcome.
Wow. Yeah, just look at the air in the crust.
Yeah.
I'm missing
Alright.
like half of my
Oh, I should
toppings here.
smell.
All right, let's get a little sip of the
Get back
wine.
in here.
Yeah. One thing we found interesting was that even though the color is quite light, there's a really, really good intensity on the aromas and the flavors,
Very intense.
which people might not expect just by looking at it.
I love.
Oh my gosh, I could just sip on that wine. Oh,
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow, that pulls up the fruit. All of a sudden, the cherries come bouncing to the front.
let's try that.
You notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
And a little bit of the earthiness too. Just
I think without the pizza, I feel like the earthiness is dominant. And then when you add probably the saltiness,
yeah.
it just pulls that fruit right up to the
Oh,
front.
that's beautiful.
Mm,
It does definitely make it fruitier.
this is
Yeah.
pretty. So pretty.
Beautiful.
A really good earthy Pinot Noir makes me think of a sort of reading a novel by a window on a rainy day.
Yes.
You know, just so like cozy and
Yeah.
yeah. And something about the juxtaposition about being inside and warm and looking outside and it's stormy or rainy or something. It feels like this kind of wine to me.
Yes.
Probably because of the earthiness and like a mushroomy quality.
Yes.
And then fruit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that description. That's really nice. Yeah. Yeah.
This is
It's so good.
beautiful wine.
So good.
Yeah, that is an amazing pairing. Now, what are some FAQs that you get, like frequently asked questions that you get asked that people need to know this? I'm going to try the goat cheese.
Oh my gosh.
Good idea.
I would say some of the old school ones that we don't really get anymore, thankfully, is like, how do they get the fruit in the wine?
Oh, are you talking about the club or about wine?
Oh, I guess either or.
Both. Oh, okay.
Go
Okay.
for anything.
Well, we
you
can
want
give
to
you. Her and I have spent many
Oh,
hours
God.
behind a tasting bar.
Oh,
So
me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one is a hot-
That one was a good one.
Okay.
yeah, we can talk about that for hours. But
yeah. So, well, to answer it, since I've asked the question now, and we can't leave the viewers hanging.
No.
The fruit characteristics is actually natural flavors that the grape has once it starts to ferment. So depending on where it's been planted, if there's been an orchard there or some other type of something
Before,
that was there before, sometimes those characteristics can be pulled up a little bit more from the soil too. So for example, there's a vineyard in Naramata that used to be apple trees, and the Pinot Gris that comes out of there is just such a strong apple flavor. So that it can happen, but we are not actually, unless it is a fruit wine, I should say. If you are talking about grape-based wines, we are not adding
Anything.
peaches and apples and everything else to the stainless steel tanks or the barrels to be able to impart those flavors. It is just a natural flavor that comes through.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a concentrate of
No.
peanuts that are added.
No, thank God.
Yeah, here's your murky wine.
Making our own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess some other frequently asked questions about the club.
I think for people, did you have one?
Oh, I was just going to say, where do you ship?
Yes.
So for us, because Tanya and I are really just the vessel of how to promote these wines. So all of our shipments are coming from the winery. So we work based off of where the winery decides to ship. So if they are open to doing Canada-wide, then we will promote Canada-wide. If they do not want to ship into, I guess
Northwest
nobody's really done,
Territories?
I was just going to say, nobody's really done Northwest Territories or Yukon, so we don't really have any members up there anyways, but if
I think
whatever.
there's a great need for wine up there.
Yeah.
I visited Yellowknife once. I would say that they like to drink. So, yeah. So we do our shipments based off of wherever the winery ships. So sometimes we have had months where they opted to not go into Ontario or Alberta or wherever, and so we just
Adjust.
Yeah, change things on the back end to be able to reflect that as well.
Okay.
What other kind of shipments or questions do we get asked?
I don't, honestly, we are very open and always kind of available to people. So I would say, and we do a really good job explaining how the club works itself, that we haven't had a ton of questions, I would say, in the way that the club functions. Sometimes we do get requests as to, are you ever going to feature this winery? This is one of our favorites. We'd love to see it come up. We'd love to know what you think.
Yeah.
Those types of questions come up.
What would you suggest if I'm having this?
Yeah,
or
the pairing
or
questions.
what do you think of X winery? Or
Yeah.
like those kind of
Or
questions.
or have you tried this vintage from this winery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which we love. Honestly, we love
Yeah.
that people use us as their kind
a
of boots on the
sounding board.
ground or their songs
Yeah,
in their
absolutely.
pocket, whatever you want to call it, right?
Pocket song.
Yeah, right. We love that. That's
Yeah.
that's why we've spent the time to educate ourselves and tasted all the wines and made all the connections so that we can kind of share that with you, right? So, yeah,
Especially
those
if they
types of
can't be here in
questions.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then when they do come here in person, they know where to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and we love doing that too, because we've had those questions of, coming, where should I visit? I only have 3 days.
Oh, yes.
And so we will happily share an itinerary with you.
Yeah.
So please, we love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the cool little places they
Yeah.
wouldn't find on their own.
Totally. Yeah.
Like I saw that you featured Niche a little
did.
while ago.
Yeah, they were our very first winery partner, actually.
really?
Yeah, so we've been very lucky to know James and Joanna for
A
a
while.
while. And Joanna has definitely been a person within the wine industry that we've looked up to and has probably been a bit of a sounding board more often than maybe she wants. I don't know. But we were very thankful and excited when they agreed to be able to work with us. And we loved being able to have them as that first winery partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love his take on experimentalism and science. Yeah, he's such a scientist. I'm
Yes,
sure.
he is.
Very much.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you have coming up?
We can't say.
Oh,
Yeah. They're from the South Okanagan.
Yeah.
South Okanagan.
So that's all
okay.
we're going to say.
We can say there will be some unique varietals in there that we have not featured before.
Yes.
Mm.
So
that
it's
is
not
true.
your standard kind of Pinot Chardonnay that you've seen from us in
Right.
the last little while.
That's a good
Okay.
one.
Obviously, there's a lot of Pinot and Chard planted here, so we do feature it often. We try and make sure there's style differences.
Yeah.
Right.
But this winery does produce some unique varieties, and we've kind of cornered them into allowing us to feature those.
Ooh, and they're, sorry?
Oliver.
Oliver.
Oliver. Okay.
Oliver.
Oh, I was thinking further south.
Yeah, no. So that's another thing about our club maybe that we didn't touch on before is we don't reveal anything until the feature is ready to go live.
Yeah.
So
It's fun.
It is fun that way. And
Yeah.
so for our members,
Hard to
we
plan,
will-
but it's fun.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
for our members, we'll do like teasers on social media when we're like tasting throughout the winery or posts leading up to it to be like, hey, we have this coming, like features
Yeah.
going to live X day. So then we
Okay.
have people's interest is like piqued and they're
Yeah.
waiting for that email to come through so that they know what it's going to be. But yeah, we don't say anything. We are tight-lipped.
It would be
Maybe
really
we'll tell
fun
you
to
after,
try and
but
guess
we'll
it.
see.
Yeah, after
Yeah, we
this
can
goes-
play a bit of a guess game, but the
Yeah.
feature will be live on April 15th.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in taking advantage and checking out who it is, make sure that you sign up for the newsletter. It's essentially a newsletter. You're joining our database when you sign up at gonewest.ca, and you'll receive an email on April 15th
So
sharing
keep
the
us in
winery.
touch.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's really fun. I like suspense.
Yeah. Don't we all?
Well, yeah. Well, it's good. It's good. And this is really fun. I love that you guys picked the things that you picked for pairing. You
Thank you.
definitely met the pairing challenge.
Thank you.
Yes. Well done, you guys. And
Round of applause. Yeah.
yay. And well done, Code Wines. You're
Yes.
great too.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we are out of time, and we can just hang around and eat.
Yeah.
Sounds
from
great.
now on. All
Game.
right. So bye. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.